Okay, here we go. Father's Day video number 2. More purple lemonade. I have a bunch of stuff on my bench because I'm in my 10-day waiting period, and I decided I wanted to do a what's the right word I'm looking for? I wanted to tinker with a bolt action 22 and still kind of tactical it and do some accuracy stuff. So not, super long range, 50, 100 yards kind of stuff. But there's certain things I like, and I'll go through the list of things I want to install once the bolt action 22 has arrived. I went over this probably a few months ago, this Crimson Trace. This was the CSA 2624, which was a 6x24x56 with 34 millimeter tube, and a first person focal MOA, MR1 MOA reticle. And again, I showed this. I think this was like 3 1/4 when I picked it up. It was, I think, greater than a 50% sale at the time. And then someone pinged me later and said, hey, it's under 300 now, I think 299 and change. So obviously Crimson Trace still in the scope business, but this particular line, I'll just call this new old stock. So they've been supplanted with newer versions of comparable product. And I picked up some Arkin, kind of hard to find 34 millimeter tube rings. 30 millimeter and 1 inch seemed to be more common, but 34 millimeter was a little less common. And so obviously I'm going to have a Picatinny rail on this particular 22. This is going to be a Ruger Precision Rimfire. So those of you who are familiar with that, I think that came out about 3 years ago. Takes advantage of the 1022 magazines. So that will be pretty cool. And after tinkering or feeling the rifle, I knew right away I did not like the standard Ruger Plasti grip. And I'm a big fan of this. This was an Israeli, made in Israel, Israeli grip. And love the little storage and the softer rubber, rubberized rather. So I tend to use these. I'm a big fan of the AGR 43s. They just feel great in the hand. So I will be replacing the Ruger stock, a pistol grip rather, with that. No change in the stock. Then I saw this online, and this is a Strike Industries Warthog, because the Ruger Precision Rifle Rimfire comes with a thread cap. So I will be installing, I'll put the crush washer on, and then install this particular brake. I thought this was a cool little brake for the Ruger Precision Rifle. Ruger Precision Rimfire, and I'll pick up some anti-seize for threading that. I don't know if I'm going to do the build on screen or not. And then the last 2 items, which are related, because this is an M-lock rail, and I'm a big fan of, instead of getting a bipod that has an M-lock adapter already built into it, I prefer the stud mount approach for my rifles, just because I'm old school. So I have a stud mount M-lock that will be going in this particular bipod. And I picked this up because I went searching. My go-to bipods are the Harris. The 6x9 and the 9x13s are my standard, and I have nothing bad to say about a Harris bipod. Nothing. In fact, it's the only, I can't say only, it's my favorite bipod, and I always buy this extra adapter so that I can do the swivel tilt But I thought, you know, springs, cost, the 22, even though these are, you know, the scope $300, it's almost as much as the rifle. This is not a fancy, you know, Olympic caliber rifle. So I figured, you know, I can reuse other Harris bipods. But I found this particular bipod that was a little more than half the price of a Harris. And I thought, oh, let me give it a try. Because, ooh, that's in there. Mother fudger. Now I'm getting old. Springs, love them, hate them. They are what they are. Old school design that everyone and their brother has copied. So what attracted me to this was completely different design and kind of heavy duty-ish in the way it's constructed. And it also, and again, I always had to pay extra for these, order them separately. I can't remember from where. So this has the stud mount as the primary, but it also included a Picatinny version. So you could lock this onto your Picatinny rail and tighten that down. I thought that was, again, very cool because this can't be a cheap piece of aluminum. You know, it's got some weight to it. So this probably would have been $10 or $15 by itself. So this would cover this bipod and this adapter with these two, either Picatinny or stud mount, would cover just about any rifle situation I would have. But what drew me to it, and I think older versions had carbon fiber. This is not carbon fiber. This is aluminum. In fact, the only metal on this is, I think, the pins. Yeah, the only metal on this thing are the pins and the stud mount. Everything else is aluminum. And solid, nice rubber feet. I think I yanked off this the thingy when I pulled that out. Again, soft enough rubber to grip. About the same as the Harris. I mean, nothing to write home about. Same mechanism as the Harris. And what made this a little bit different than the Harris feet either go out or go in. That is it. And then obviously you have your different levels of extension. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional levels of extension. And this, what was cool about this is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would be flat. So 5 levels of degrees, I guess, of how you want to shoot. You can just do straight up and down like the Harris, and it's got a much wider stance than the Harris. So for the Ruger, and it's not a heavy, I mean, it's probably a little heavier than the Harris, but you know, it's not like crazy. And I would think that this would be front facing. Actually, you know what? No, I think this is front facing. You know, good question. I'm gonna have to look online because I would think, I don't know if I'd want to use my thumb or my forefinger, my index finger, my finger for pushing this. So, you know, on the Harris bipod, you know, this is up, so this is back towards you. So if I use the same approach, these would be facing forward, and I would be using my finger to adjust them. But when you look at the levels of adjustment, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost double the adjustment of the Harris, and probably twice for every one Harris, there's at least 2, almost 3 of the 2 and some change. So a little more granular in terms of your height adjustments, but lengthwise I believe it's the same. So ultimately you've got a little more granularity in your adjustments. It's not spring activated, so this is manual. You're pulling this, pushing and pulling, whereas the Harris has a spring load to it. But again, this was not quite half the price of the Harris by UUQ. And I'm sure there's plenty of knockoff names for this particular bipod. But I thought it was kind of different. Take things in a slightly different build approach for the 22. Like I said, it's I'm not talking about super long range. This is an absolute overkill in terms of a scope in my opinion, for a 22. But it's what I have on the shelf, and I bought it, way back whenever I did my other video, with the intention of someday using it, and this is a good someday. So I will put that all to good use in another week or so in terms of the build. Maybe I'll show you the before and the after, or possibly even during. I don't know yet. So that is video number 2 for Father's Day.